Lead poisoning is the unfortunate instance where predominantly children are exposed to lead-based paint, either through particles, dust, or paint chips. When you look at the data surrounding lead poisoning, it is no secret that areas of low income and areas where we have the highest concentration of minority population are not only at most risk of lead poisoning because of the conditions of the housing stock in those areas, but we're also seeing the trends in terms of highest rate of poisoning. So in 2023, we tested about 4,400 children. Of those 4,400 children, about 400 of them came back as having elevated blood lead levels, so just under 10%. It's about roughly $222,000 lifetime cost burden on a child that was exposed and poisoned by lead-based paint. The average unit cost for remediation is roughly $20,000. That only addresses hazards that are found at the time that the inspection is completed. So it's not fully abating the property. And the state is saying that it's roughly on average about $40,000 per unit to fully abate a property. Most families, they can't afford the remediation work required in a household that has risks of lead exposure. Oftentimes in rental properties in low-income areas, we do see that homes don't undergo the proper remediation. Over the years, the City of Syracuse and Onondaga County have been applying and receiving funding from Housing and Urban Development. So it's federal funding for a grant program for low-income households to apply that have children under the age of 6. And so through those programs, families are able to apply for the funding source where we assign inspectors to the home to identify where lead-based paint is, where hazards exist in those homes, and then we'll go in, we'll send an inspector to draft a scope of work that then goes out to EPA certified contractors who go into the homes, remediate the lead-based paint hazards that were found at no cost to the family and property owner. We have expanded our windows and doors programs. We're calling it Windows and Doors and More. And so what we do is for health department cases where there's an open lead violation, we are able to refer eligible households who might not be eligible for the HUD grants to that program to have the house completely abated of lead hazards. In last year's county budget, we were able to allocate $2.5 million towards lead poisoning prevention. Prior to that, we budgeted about $5 million towards lead poisoning prevention. We've taken that and we've also coupled it with the funding that we applied to the state for their Leading in Lead program for another $1.3 million. My job is to hopefully not have a job soon because this issue no longer exists. We still have a really old housing stock. We've only scratched the surface with the work required to be able to ameliorate this problem. My hope is that with all the additional funding and community support, the work of the CNY Lead Safe Coalition, the work of Onondaga County, the work of Department of Code Enforcement with the City of Syracuse, that all of this attention and energy and funding that is being channeled towards this issue will help us to turn a new leaf, to create safer environments and homes for our children, and to not be here in 50 years.